Hi, this is Roger in Finland, and today we're going to take a look at the Panasonic G9's 6K video capabilities. So for the impatient ones, you can almost get 6K video with the G9, and to do that you need to put the mode in a photo mode. I would recommend the manual one. Then the second dial under it, you put it into the 6K photo mode. Then within the menu you choose 6K, either 3.2 or 4.3 depending what aspect ratio that you want. And you choose the 6K S/S, which stands for start stop, so the camera will behave like in video. And what you will get in return is an H.265 420 10-bit MP4 file at 30 frames per second in almost 6K resolution, and the aspect ratio will be either 3.2 or 4.3 depending on what you have chosen. And now let's go for some more details. In general, if you want more video features, you should go towards the GH5 and GH5S instead of a G9, because those cameras, the GH5 and S, will have some dedicated anamorphic 6K video modes, and with the G9 we're kind of getting 6K-ish. But still, let's go and take a look on how to do that, what use cases could be useful for, and then why I will not be using it. So to get the 6K video, what we're going to be doing actually is using the 6K photo mode. And this is something that many Panasonic cameras have a similar mode. Many cameras have a 4K photo mode. The Panasonic G9 has the 4K or 6K. And what it does is basically records a burst of images at that resolution, and then you can extract single frames. Think of it as a lower resolution but faster burst than the normal burst of your camera. The way that the Panasonic cameras do this is actually recording a video file either in 4K or 6K-ish. We're going to get to the resolution soon. And then you can pull each frame individually as its own image. But the camera does record an actual video file in the memory card, so that's why you're actually getting the video. So first go into the photo mode, which is basically any mode which is not the video mode. And I would choose manual to have them as much control as you can over all the possible settings. And then in the same dial underneath, then you choose the drive mode to be the 6K photo mode. Then in the quick menu, you can choose whether it's 3.2 or 4.3, the aspect ratio, and then you can choose a different types of modes on how to trigger this photo mode. If you're going to be using it for video, I recommend to use the 6K S/S, which stands for start and stop, and the camera will behave in a similar way than video, meaning that once you press the shutter, it will start recording the burst where you can extract photographies or single images, and when you press it again, then it will stop. The other different modes work a little bit differently. There's like pre-recording and holding the shutter, but as said, if you want to use it for video, S/S. So what do you get in return? You get an H.265 file in 420 10-bit MP4 format, only 30 frames per second, meaning only that you cannot go higher than that. That's expected. I don't expect slow motion of this kind of hackish way of getting the 6K, but you cannot get 25 or 24 either. So you're stuck with 30 frames per second. That's the first thing. Then in the Panasonic G9, you can choose all the picture profiles except HLG, which is the one that I use mostly for video. And I don't know how it works if you would have the vlog update, because I don't have it. And then you can choose two possible aspect ratios, and that's 3.2 and 4.3. And the actual resolution is in 3.2, 5184 pixels on the wide end times 3456. And if you choose 4.3, it's 4992 by 3744. So I guess that technically is something like almost 5K in 4.3 and 5.2K in 3.2. Let's call it 6K-ish if you want. I started to talk about the limitations, but let's go through it systematically. First is the frame rate. You can only select 30 frames per second. If you're a 30 frames per second user, that's fine with you. I'm a 25 frames per second user, as many PAL people here in Europe, so that's kind of a bugger. But if you would like to shoot in 24 frames per second, then it's not possible either. So you're stuck at 30 frames per second. The other limitation is the codec and this kind of thing, so you can only shoot in MP4, H.265, which translates into 420 and 10-bit, which is pretty nice, but still. And then, as I mentioned before, there's no HLG. And another challenge with H.265 files, as we saw in the video I made for the Z Cam E2C, comparing H.265 and ProRes for that particular camera is that H.265 is taxing in your computer and your NLE. I don't have a super fast computer and I have some issues when editing H.265 files which are in 4K, and these files are H.265 but even bigger resolution. So definitely they are not editing friendly. For me, just having one clip with nothing on top of it, it already slows down and the computer has some trouble. So that's a reason for me to not use it. Another reason to not use it, I mentioned it before, but let's cover it again, is the frame rate. I would like 25p. I don't need slow motion, but 25p is what I use, so 30p is kind of a bummer. And then a limitation which is for me, and that came from a question that I got in a review of the Sony 50mm anamorphic lens for Micro Four Thirds, is that a possible point of having this 6K with different aspect ratio would be to squeeze it afterwards. And that would work well if you would be using 4:3 aspect ratio and you would have an anamorphic lens with a 2 times anamorphic factor, and that would squeeze into a very nice letterbox 235 or 240, I believe, really wide image. But because I do have as anamorphic lens a Sony 15mm and that's a 1.33 aspect ratio difference, that lens works very well by shooting in 16:9 because then it transforms into super wide to 4. But however, if I'm shooting at 4:3 aspect ratio, the squeezing, it translates it into a 16:9, which is kind of just a normal aspect ratio. So sure, I get the flares in 6K, but I don't get the wide view. So that's not really much use for me and the anamorphic lens I have. If you do have a 2 times anamorphic and would like to shoot 6K and you have the G9 and nothing else and you're fine with 30p and you're okay with not getting HLG, then you might want to use this mode. In any other cases, I think it's a little bit more cumbersome than anything. I think that actually the photo mode is a very useful thing, especially since many of us take pictures to post in social media nowadays, and the 6K resolution is definitely more than enough for that. But for actually taking useful 6K videos, I don't think that the G9 offers enough functionality without the headaches for me. But at least now you know how to try it out for yourself. It might be that it's a format and recording format and resolution that brings something to you that you definitely need or that you definitely can use and appreciate. So now you know how to use it. I hope you liked the video and you learned something new. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we're gonna see you soon for some more content.